Hello world and welcome to Elevated Intuition. Today's pick a card reading is for November 2nd through the 8th. As always, I have several piles here for you to choose from. If you are someone who likes to pick with plants, I will be popping those on shortly. Otherwise, if you see a pile that is calling to you, I have the timestamps down below and I will meet you at your pile. Okay guys, I have the plants here and now let me tell you what they are. The first one is a Sedum Praealtum Crested. So what crested means is that this is actually the stem. Normally a stem grows straight. This one grows flat. And then you have offshoots of the leaves all around. This one kind of looks like a wave. The next plant I have for you in the face here is a Jade. This is considered a lucky plant in many Asian cultures. The redness here on these leaves are from when it was out in the sun, and normally they are pretty green. And finally, I have this chunky plant here. It stores water in the leaves, and it is a Haworthia venosa. It's really interesting. From the center, it shoots up like this long, probably 4 to 5 times the size, just this like long kind of stem like thing, and it has tiny little flowers on it that bloom, but they're tiny, and the stem itself kind of looks like an asparagus, kind of a really skinny asparagus. But asparagus is a succulent as well, so that's why it kind of looks that way. All right, thanks for letting me go on that plant rant. I hope that you have had a chance to pick which pile resonates with you, and I will meet you at your pile. Hello, pile ones. If you picked this Sedum Crested, you were in the right spot, or maybe you were drawn to just the way this pile looked. This week I have these are new cards, these for the channel anyway, new oracle cards. So we're going to do oracle first. I just asked what it is that you need to know, and the first card that I pulled was from this oracle deck, and affirmation for growth. So I'll hold that up so you can see it, because it's a really pretty illustration here, which holding just growing something new, tending to new things, being really grounded. This is, growth takes some effort. You kind of have to decide, well, and two, when you're growing, you kind of have to decide what direction you want to go into, and what can you do to make that growth happen? So those are 2 questions that you should be asking yourself this week. I love the cat back here planting seeds. It really reminds me of the saying that, they tried to bury us, but they didn't know that we were seeds. So definitely some opportunities for growth. And this seems like it's right in the middle of that. Like we're just starting off with growth here for this month, but that's okay. I have these 2 lovely cards here. Don't make decisions based on guilt or what you think you should do, for it is only in being true to yourself that you can be true to others. And I think that's also relates to this growth card, because like I said, you kind of need a direction on where you're going to go with your growth, because you can grow all over the place. But being true to yourself and not necessarily what you think other people want you to do. Because really the only, don't try to be somebody else. I mean, that person is already taken. Be the best you can be. You also have a secret admirer. Someone has deeper feelings for you than they are letting on. So that's interesting. This reading isn't necessarily about love, but those are love oracles. And next we have wisdom and focus. Just looking here tiny little print, waning gibbous and waxing gibbous. So these are different phases of the moon as it goes smaller and larger. It just means, I guess, balance to me, that you have balance. So let's talk about wisdom here for a second. I love this card. She has, she's basically standing on books. That, like, the wisdom that we are looking for, it's not necessarily within us. We can stand on the shoulder of others, but we do need to ask some questions. And that kind of goes back to this growth here. You need to ask the right questions of the right people and seek the right wisdom. And I love this. She's like waving to the moon. She's in a boat, so it's kind of like, thanks for getting me where I'm going, moon. And because the moon controls the tide. I love the saying, though, and this that reminds me, when we talk about wisdom, that old and wise were once young and stupid. So, you are growing, but don't be so hard on yourself, because as long as you're learning from mistakes, or you do something that maybe you're not proud of, that's okay. Just learn from it. And if it is a situation you aren't familiar with, seek out the advice from others. There are definitely people that would love to give you advice, but make sure that that's somebody who you admire and somebody who's in a position that you want to be in. Don't just ask your friends who haven't accomplished anything. Not saying that there's anything wrong with your friends, but like I said, young and stupid people, they grow up to be old and wise. So look for those old and wise people, because they've probably been where you were before. And then we have focus here. It's just about putting your blinkers on, not really worrying about what other people are saying to you. You have your own path. Like, your path is unique to you. It's totally different from other people, and whether that's a career path or a love path. Don't keep up with the Joneses. Like, don't worry about what other people are doing, and especially if you're looking at that on social media, because some of that is so fake anyway. Everybody has their own challenges and what they're going through, and you just worry about being the better version of you the next day, not keeping up with the Kardashians. I love this bubble here that you put a bubble around yourself and focus on what you want to accomplish. And now let's look at your cards. So the first one we have is, this is the Ace of Cups. I love the illustration on that. This is the Empress. It's a big glow up from Ace of Cups to the Empress there. This is the Eight of Air. It's about feeling trapped. And maybe you do if you're too concerned about what other people think of you. This is the Page of Fire. So both the Ace of Cups and the Page of Fire are both cards about new beginnings. And the Chariot. So Chariot is about decisions. Let's start at the beginning. So Ace of Cups, like I said, these two cards are about beginnings. And when you are starting something, and what I told you with this card here, where I gave you some questions to answer for yourself, like what can you do to make your growth happen? What direction do you want to grow in? And maybe you have that spark, that passion. You're feeling like, yes, you have this new emotional experience that you're feeling like, yeah, I want to do something new and grow in a different direction. Well, the Chariot is all about decisions. Like, well, what direction are we going to go in? And sometimes the Eight of Air, and maybe this week is some contemplation about what I just said. It's finding some wisdom for yourself. It's realizing what you really want. It is focusing on you. And maybe some of that is going to be a little bit difficult here with this 8 of air. But still, I mean, the 8 is in the thick of it, in the middle of it. But this is feeling bound up and feeling kind of like you're trapped. The thing is, though, you're not. You just need to make a decision as to which way you go. And with the Empress here, the Empress is such a beautiful card. I mean, she's the Empress. This is telling me that you're going to be successful. There's abundance and prosperity here. If you find what you're looking for, if you answer your personal questions, there's definitely going to be a good direction for you to go in. So I'll just read these cards here. The water is about emotions, and this is a beautiful new emotional experience, a romantic relationship or deep friendship, awakening of psychic abilities or spiritual insights, a love letter, a new home. Let's go with the spiritual insights here. You may feel like that's the direction that you want to grow in, that you want to grow spiritually, that there's something intuitive about, like, you just have this gut feeling that you want to start something new. The secret admirer might come into play here with a romantic connection, or even just a deepening friendship, that somebody just really appreciates you, and you've got a friend here that wants to go along for the ride, because why not? You're a beautiful mermaid. The Empress, time to take action, give birth to your dreams. Creative projects will be very successful. Abundance and prosperity. So whatever this direction here with these 2 beginning cards you're thinking about, you are emotionally connected to it, and it's something that's creative and passionate about for you. And the Empress is just here saying that this is, a really great opportunity for you. Don't be afraid to take that step. Don't get bound up here. Also with the Empress card, if you are in like a relationship where you feel like you're ready to start a family, the Empress, like on a side note here, the Empress, I hope it's not with just a secret admirer that you didn't know about, but the Empress could be that, you're ready to get pregnant, or you are pregnant. So if that's not your journey that you're looking for, take precautions and think about the Empress as giving birth to new ideas and new dreams. So sometimes, I'm feeling like you don't really know which direction you're going into, and especially with this 8 and this Chariot, you have some options, you have some decisions here. Use your intuition and something that's gonna, is creative and you're passionate about, and I feel like that'll be the right direction here, because the Chariot is about direction. But you might get into the week and just feel like, I don't know where I'm going. I feel trapped. I'm behind this gate. I'm blindfolded. Looks like she was tied up. In other 8 of air cards, she is tied up, but it's all kind of, it's an illusion of entrapment, a lack of self-confidence that makes you feel helpless, being afraid to take action. Take responsibility for your own life now. Let's talk about the self-confidence issue. When I said the affirmation of growth here, and I said they planted us, but they didn't know that we were seeds. Well, a seed starts off, and when you start off, don't feel like you need to know everything about where you're going, and certainly put a plan in place. But sometimes it just gets really overwhelming, and that's what seeking wisdom and focusing on really what you want and what you want. Putting your blinders on and not letting other people tell you what you want or what you should do. Follow your path, because if you try to follow somebody else's path or what somebody else thinks that you should do, it's just not going to be, I mean, you could be a really gifted person and make it and do what other people think you should do, but it's just not going to be as successful. You aren't going to be this empress if it's not your own path. And the Page of Fire, enthusiastic, optimistic, creative, impatient. So you got this bound up. Once you get going, you're going to be, a little impatient here. News of exciting opportunities, and both of these cards, the Chariot and the Page, is about opportunities. Allowing your creativity to soar, do things that fuel your passions, and finish what you start. The Page isn't necessarily about finishing something. They're really about, really kind of, when you get the Page, it's kind of like a caution, like, yes, you're going to be super excited about something new, but just make sure you finish what you start, okay? And I feel like if you put a lot of effort into like this foundation of where you want to grow and finding the wisdom to where you want to grow and really doing it for your reasons, the right reasons, that's going to allow you to move past this 8 here into this Page. And you are going to be super excited about it. And the Chariot is a movement card. It's a decisions card, movement card, rewards that come from hard work, successfully balancing many priorities at once, determination and willpower, and public recognition. And that might be too, when you get this public recognition, you do this foundational thing, really ask yourself some questions about what you want to do, what you want to start. Why is that important to you? Do some soul searching here, because when you get this public recognition, you're obviously going to have people, and they may even be well-intentioned, where they are saying, why are you doing that? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. And that's why you need to focus and not take it as somebody questioning what you want to do, and they're not going to understand it. Maybe they don't understand it, and that's okay. You're the one who's growing here. You're the one who needs to understand it. You are the Empress. So it's about, put that bubble. Let me pull this focus out. Remember, you have this bubble here. And I love the butterfly. We didn't talk about that. The butterfly is kind of, is about transformation, but it's also about like a new idea, like a new thought, a new idea, which is all about the Ace of Water. So yeah, you've got some work to do, but it's going to be it's a beautiful reading here. So thank you, Group 1, if you liked this reading. Oh, and please let me know what new thing you're going to start. But please hit that like button and hit that subscribe and the bell so that we can talk about this movement and where you're going next week. Hello, Group 2, if you picked this lucky Jade. Let's see how lucky your week is. So I have, we're going to start off with Oracle cards first this week. The first card I pulled was this specific Oracle, and everything is, the question was just basically, what do you need to know this week? There was nothing about obstacles or, and if there's an obstacle that you need to know about, well, it will come, it will show up in the cards anyway. So what you need to know this week is go with the flow. And I love this card. It's a little bit relaxed, and maybe you've been fighting some battles and you just need to be like, just let things go with the flow. Going with the flow reminds me of the law of attraction, and a lot about, if you ever listen to Abraham Hicks, she talks a lot about upstream thoughts and downstream thoughts. Upstream thoughts are thoughts that aren't necessarily true or aren't necessarily helpful, and basically you're fighting the current with that thought. And downstream thoughts is going with the flow, and those thoughts carry you where you want to go. So it's examining your thoughts, and are they helpful? Are they serving you? Is it what you need to know? Is it what you need to think about? Do you need to reframe your thoughts? So yeah, it seems really relaxing, and here hanging out, I don't know how relaxing flowing down a river with a cat is, but she seems to really be enjoying it. The other thought that I have when I see this card, go with the flow, I think is serenity. And it reminds me of the serenity prayer, like, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So right now, she is just accepting the things that she can't change. She can't change the direction of this river. She's just going to jump in and go with it. But she can change where she jumps in. She can change where she jumps off. And right now, she can just think about and gain that wisdom, what she needs to know the difference of. So these two cards jumped out for you. Wait, don't rush into it. Allow nature to take its course. It's very connected with this. It's just like flowing and letting things happen. And surrender. Wow, this relates as well. At times we must surrender the old before something new can enter our lives. Let go and all will work out. So this is just, I feel like all of these cards are really about trusting in the universe, and maybe you have been fighting a battle. Maybe you've been fighting something and you don't really need to. And let those kinds of things go. The next two cards are blossoming and growth. I almost feel like we need to do growth and blossoming because we grow and then blossom. This is waxing crescent moon and flower moon. I just look at those and the numbers to see if there's anything that jumps out at me that needs to be said here. 5 and 33, those numbers might be important to you this week. I love this watch that she has here is grow. It's just kind of like give it time. You know, more flowing, more flow with flow and movement. A lot of when you plant something before it blossoms, a lot of times it seems like you're not moving or you're not doing anything, but really you're just putting down roots and creating this strong foundation. So think about that. And blossoming is just letting nature take its course, trusting that you're going to reach this point of blooming and opening up and rising, and don't worry about what other people are doing. Worry about where you're going. This was also a theme in number 1 too. So if that kind of resonated with you a little bit, you might have some messages in the first reading as well. But just letting things out there and growing. So let's take a look at these cards. So first we have the 2 of air, the moon, 2 of cups, 6 of fire, and finally we've got the Knight of Fire. So yeah, really, I mean, as you look at this, you might be a little bound up here with some decisions. So that's what, and you have 2 twos, so that's interesting too. I also noticing here that both the moon and 2 of air, excuse me, the moon and the 2 of air are very much related, and they also, I love these cards, they're about angels, and all of the cards, not all of them, but most of the cards relate back to a specific angel. Both of these have H on them. For Hanel, that angel, her name means grace of God, and she is about intuition and divine gifts and spirituality. She's also represented usually with like a silvery blue, and I feel like she might be this well, she's got long hair here and short hair here, but this might be like the same person represented on these cards. Two of air and the moon. So being unable or unwilling to make a decision, follow your own heart rather than trying to make others happy, pretending there is no problem, overanalyzing a situation. So you're just sitting here not sure which direction to go. You might be feeling other people influenced you, or the moon here is listen to your intuition and pay attention to the signs from the divine. Unnecessary worry, let go of fears, revelations that will make everything clear. So right now there's some uncertainty that you don't know basically which way to go. It's not clear. There's not a clear, like, this is the perfect path for me. And maybe that's because you haven't asked your soul the right decisions. Going back to go with the flow, when I was talking about Abraham Hicks, and when you have thoughts upstream or downstream, so maybe take a look at those decisions, because is this an upstream decision or a downstream decision? Am I going to fight too hard, or is this a go with the flow decision? There's also water indicated here on the moon card, and it's about flow too. Like, water is definitely intuition. So this Archangel Hannah might be somebody that you consult or think about while you're trying to make this decision and which way you should go. Also, air is more of a head over heart decision. But then we have the Two of Cups, which could also be about decisions. And this is a heart over head decision, because this is about emotions. So really follow your intuition and which decision is going with the flow with you, because cups is water and that's flowing as well. This could also signify some love here, falling in love or the reassurance of a romantic relationship, forgiveness and the ending of challenges, exchanging gifts. Don't give up on people you love. So it doesn't always have to be a romantic love. It could be a partnership, just as long as it's somebody who supports you. Like I said, over here, you might be concerned about what other people think. This person, though, doesn't matter. They don't care which decision you make. They want you to make the healthy, good decision, the downstream decision for you. And once you really make these decisions, you're going to set some things into motion. And this is about victory, wise choices that bring public recognition and success, promotions, awards, and scholarships. So I think that this is an important decision to you. You know that you're on the verge of this like maybe getting a raise, or maybe just having like a healthy relationship with other people. Whatever this decision is that you're making, you know that it's important. And don't worry, like, trust in the universe. You have this victory and this recognition coming to you. And once you are making it, you are just off to the races. You are off and running. This is Knight of Fire, who is passionate and confident and charismatic and restless, events requiring immediate action. Trust your instincts, stay focused, a passionate relationship. So there is a lot of hints here that there could be a relationship, like some love interest entering here, or at least if it's somebody that you know, that it like this card and this card are like this could be a good person for you to hang out with for a while, especially this one. The other thing is that when you trust yourself and you go, maybe you don't know all the factors, but trust your intuition, and that is, once you do make a decision, you're going to just be off and running with it, and it's going to turn out well for you. And that is really beautiful week, and that's basically all I have for you guys. Please let me know like what decision you choose. If you do look up this Archangel Hannah in some way and that helps you decide if you have what your upstream or downstream decision and thoughts are, and how you are victorious and often moving in that direction. So thank you, group 2. If you liked this reading, please hit the like button, like and subscribe, and hit that bell so we can have a discussion about what happens next week. Hello, group 3. If you picked this lovely Haworthia, you are in the right place. I'm just gonna put that up here to make some room. This week, I just asked the cards what it is that you need to know, and started off with, not these, but this one. This is accept love. So I feel like you're somebody who really gives out love. I mean, just looking at this card, you have a lot of love inside of you, and you just hand it out and give it to everybody, and that's fantastic. But you need to accept it for yourself as well. And the other thing is watch out for relationships that are not balanced, where you are putting way more love into something than somebody deserves, and they are just, because they can end up taking advantage of you. And you want balanced relationships because you deserve love as well. The other thing about this accept love is accept love for yourself. So one of my favorite sayings or memes or whatever is, if I ask you to name all of the things that you love, how long until you name yourself? So this is not just the love that you're putting out into the universe. I mean, obviously that's felt, and the people around you are very lucky. But you need to accept that from yourself, for yourself, and then from others. And trust me, you deserve that, and people do love you. I love you. Oh, the other thing that it reminds me of, let's go back here for a sec. When I'm talking about balance and giving and receiving, and that sometimes accepting love may be kind of risky because you're opening yourself up. It reminds me of the song by Pink. It's one of my favorite songs, Try. Where there is desire, there's going to be a flame. And it reminds me with the flame here. Where there is desire, there's going to be a flame. Where there is a flame, someone's bound to get burned. But just because it burns doesn't mean you're going to die. You've got to get up and try and try and try. So she does a much better job with that than I do. So I encourage you to listen to that song this week. Yes, that's your homework. Embrace. Through each other, we find the missing pieces and time. You are trying too hard. Give it time. So we'll just leave these here and see how that relates to other things, because those are pretty self-explanatory cards. And then we have Abundance Hunter Moon and Long Night Darkness. So this to me says a lot about balance, because this Hunter Moon is a full moon and Long Night is a new moon where, there's the sun, the moon is not giving off any light in the sky. The other interesting thing to me is that the Hunter Moon is actually October 31st. And the Long Night Moon is in December. I think it's around the 11th. So whatever you're putting into whatever, right here, time, you are trying too hard, give it some time. There's going to be some, it's not a completion this week. because whatever you're putting into motion this week, you may not see until December. These two cards also speak about cycles. So, you know, there are times of great abundance, and to really be present in that moment and enjoy it, because then there are times of, you know, darkness and long nights. And, you know, the other thing with abundance is for everyone. It could be an abundance of love or, you know, material things as well. The Hunter Moon is specifically about abundance of food and abundance of, food. As people, we are really, really drawn to food. But there is enough for everyone. There's enough love for everyone. There is enough abundance for everyone. Our world is really, it can be very abundant. So look for those things. Let's look at our cards. So we have the 10 of Air, the 7 of Air, the 7 of Fire, the 8 of Fire, and the 8 of Earth. So I was talking about balance with these two things. This is pretty balanced here. There are no water cards, which is about emotions. So tarot has air, fire, earth, and water. But I feel like these cards up here are very much about love. So a very balanced week for you, even if there are some challenges. This also, you have 2 7s and 2 8s. We should be playing poker because we have 2 pair, but this card in particular, this 7, just reminds me of the Steve Miller Band song, Take the Money and Run. We'll get into that maybe. I just keep hearing that in my head. 7s are about patience and trust, commitments. This is looking for the long term. It's almost kind of pulling out big picture kind of things. And I think that's not a ton of time between the Hunter Moon and the Long Night Moon, but it's definitely not just this week. So whatever we put into motion, and these 3 cards are definitely about motion this week, it's going to take a longer time before you start seeing results from it. So that's what the 7s are about. 8s, because we have 2 8s, are about progress and priorities. They're about moving forward. Obviously, this is a very fast moving card. This puts the brakes on a little bit. It's not moving as fast, but it is setting foundations. It is setting goals. It is moving, you know, if you're moving someplace, you need to know where you're going. You need to find out what direction you want to move in, and only you're the only one who can answer that question, like where you want to go. And I'll get more into the cards here. So that's my first, like, you've got some motion going on and you're basically in the thick of things. The first card is the 10 of Air, the end of a situation that brings relief, sadness, or both. The opportunity for new happiness, a weight that's lifted off of your shoulder, the end of an addiction, a melodramatic reaction. So I do see some drama in this card too, like people are taking shots at you in some way. But at least with this 10 of Air is you're setting some boundaries, right? You are like, you could be walking away from something, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a physical boundary. It could be a mental boundary. You could have opened yourself up to somebody or a situation or a group of people, like at your job, and maybe revealed a little bit too much about yourself and you're not getting that love reciprocated. So you're just going to pull back a little bit and put up a boundary and protect yourself. And that is okay. It's knowing this flow of love is knowing when to let it, you just don't let it flow all the time, basically, and accept it for yourself. And if you're not getting it back from other people, maybe you need to pull back. Maybe, there's too much love flowing from you that they don't have the opportunity to reciprocate, and they should be reciprocating in whatever situation that is. So, and melodramatic reactions sometimes, we can be dramatic, whatever happens in our love life or at work or whatever. This card is just like, hey, whatever that situation was, you're going to put a boundary there, and you are, you don't need to like air out all of your dirty laundry. Put them in your bags that you packed here. So you can air that out. It's just a caution, you probably have that thought that may not be the best thought. 7 of air, a loss of peace of mind, or personal freedom. Take caution and be aware of others' actions. Material loss. Make sure you are being honest with yourself. Embarrassing secrets. So this can be also where people are talking behind your back, and maybe you opened up a little bit too much. Work relationships, especially, sometimes people make you feel like they are your friends, and maybe they aren't your friends. So again, putting this boundary up, and this is kind of like running away from a situation because maybe you don't know how to react yet. Especially if it's people that are talking behind your back and causing drama and making you want to create a dramatic reaction about it. Pull back from that situation, look at it from a different perspective until you really know how you want to interact with it or how react with it. So there's some sort of loss here. 7 of air can also be about taking a shortcut. So if you are, this quote gets I can't pinpoint who said this, if it was Bill Gates or Steve Jobs, who said, if you want to get something done, ask a lazy person to do it, because they study the situation and they do it in the easiest possible way. So sometimes that's what this card is about as well. But I'm feeling that there's some sort of situation where you put yourself out there and you didn't get the reaction that you wanted, and you were a little bit hurt and wounded by it. 7 of fire. Stand up for yourself and your beliefs. Have confidence. Challenge those in power, but choose your battles wisely. So when you pull back and look at the situation and then stand your ground, that's what this is about. And still, like all 3 of these cards can be about people talking about behind your back and your reaction to that. And then this is being a target and people coming at you. In the progression of the fire, like the 6 of fire is a victory card. People are looking up to you, and sometimes when you are out there, then that makes you a target for somebody's jealousy. One thing that this card always reminds me of, like this fire or these wands is what they are, reminds me of pointing fingers. So people are pointing fingers at you. Don't let them project their own things onto you. Don't let them project their own insecurities, their own, what they're doing, their own sadness, whatever that is. Because when you point a finger, there are 4 fingers pointing back at yourself. And if somebody's pointing a finger at you, they've got 4 fingers pointing back at themselves. Sometimes people's reaction to you is way, 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 way more about what's going on with them than what is actually going on with you. Then we have the 8 of wands. So this is, you stand your ground and then you put something into action, like something is going to change very quickly because you put up boundaries and you're letting people know how you want to be treated. Too much going on, stress caused by many positive opportunities, unexpected events or rapid change, the ability to multitask, and business travel. So you may be going someplace this week, or at least, in this time frame here, you may be traveling, but these are positive opportunities, and it's unexpected, but it is something that you had put in motion. You're putting it into motion yourself. And finally, grounding yourself a little bit, because you're finding this energy over here, this air energy, is a little bit, up in the air. And this is very fast moving, both of these cards. So you come back to earth and ground yourself. And the 8 of earth is learning all you can about a subject or career, going back to school, taking a seminar, or finding a mentor, attention to detail, skilled work that you love. So it's just putting yourself into your work and paying attention to the detail of what you're doing, that you have this fast moving energy in your opportunities. And once you settle on an opportunity, or, even if you are business travel, if you're traveling for work, this 8 of Pentacles is putting some hard work in, because you're almost there. The 8 is kind of like 80% to completion, and you just have these finishing touches, and maybe you don't know exactly what to do, and it's reaching out and asking somebody for help. And maybe it is asking somebody who hurt you over here for help, because if this was a work situation, but this is coming from, like I said, a more grounded place. This is after you've stood your ground and you are grounding yourself a little bit, putting up some boundaries that you deserve love, and somebody teaching you something is kind of an act of love as well. So accept that, because sometimes people are very, I don't want to be too stereotypical here, but men, they don't ask for help. They don't ask for directions. They don't read the directions. So that kind of comes to mind here, that you may need to read some directions, ask for help, go and find it, Google it, go on YouTube, find out what you need to do to be your best self, and accept that love. Somebody teaching you something is an act of love, and accept it. So basically, this looks like a really interesting week, but you are handling it well. Like I said, you might feel a little bit overwhelmed, but this is something that you put into action by setting your boundaries. Love yourself and accept love, and don't accept in a relationship where you aren't receiving the love back that you're putting out there. And I feel like that's what these cards are about. And you're going to be a rock star at work. Let's see. So yeah, structure and goals structure and goals can help you pull this all together. Asking yourself some questions, like being in the moment, thinking about, let's go back to this abundance for a second. A lot of times, you run away from a situation because you're not feeling like you're valued, but sometimes you have to just demand value and demand that abundance that everybody, that you feel like everybody else is receiving and you aren't. And when you do that, like, you're demanding that abundance from the universe, from your job, from your friends, from your family, you're putting something into motion here, and then get into this receiver mode and accept it. But don't get overwhelmed. Like I said, once you start to get overwhelmed, you may need to ground yourself. But key thing to take away this week is that accept love, balance in your relationships, and you are worthy of love, and love yourself as well. So I think that's all I have for you, group 3. Please hit like and subscribe for me, and I'll see you in the next reading.